And here is my Prusa Mini, just arrived. I ordered it in mid-November and it arrived today. So it took us a while to wait for it, so let's hope it was worth the wait. This is supposed to be an entry-level machine for Prusa. It comes at around 400 euros, so it's entry-level for a top-notch supplier. So let's get our hands into it. Okay, I'm going to unbox this together with you guys. And here is the complete thing. So the first thing we get is a certificate from Prusa of the quality controls. So it looks like my machine passed all quality checks. I get for free a face shield. That's a nice one. So it reads, apart from your printer, the package also contains parts of a face shield. You might wonder, why are we sending it to you? Take this shield as an inspiration on how we could use your 3D printer to help others, and also as an invitation to the worldwide 3D printing community, which is now printing shields for the medical workers, police and other professionals on the front line. Together with this community, we have already produced several tens of thousands of these shields. Yeah, that's a nice one, so I will set it aside for now. Then there's a lot of packaging and bubbles. There is an important note here on a USB stick with drive and firmware. Some instructions, a cheat sheet with all the fasteners, and the manual for assembly and a 3D printed handbook. We'll go through this later on. Plugs, and then a few parts here in the box. Gummy bears and some PLA filament. I will also set aside. And this is the only difficult part of the assembly because of the way they have designed the way to connect the base to the Z vertical axis. They have decided to use the T-shape nuts and normal Allen screws, but basically you don't see what you're doing. So first you have to fit the longest screw, and that is already quite painful, even if you can in a way see a bit of what is happening. At the same time, the steel part of the base on top of the electronic enclosure is rubbing against the surface of the aluminum extrusion, and mine got quite scratched because of that. I think there was a burr in the lower part. It took me a while to figure out that there was something wrong with the T-nut, so by looking straight into the hole I could see that the T-nut was a bit lying on the lower surface of the extrusion, and it was not aligning properly with the hole in the 3D printed part. So then I figured out if I turned it upside down, that could work. So that's what I did. I turned the printer upside down, so the T-nut was resting on the top part of the extrusion instead of the bottom, and that worked like a charm. All in all, I think all this took me a good 20 minutes out of the probably 30 minutes that you need to set the complete printer up. So I would say probably Prusa should look into this a bit more and try to find a better or clever way to fix these two parts together. For the rest, everything was going on like a breeze. The electronics is pretty simple to set up, and I was good to go. So it's time to fire up this baby. I have prepared here a roll of Airsoon green PLA, and my first consideration is this spool holder. Yeah, I'm not sure I will like it. Let's see how it goes. You see, this is a ½ kilo roll, so I just slide it all over the place here to get it fixed. So that's why I didn't actually put the two screws there. So let's fire it up then. You hear the fan. I think it's the fan for the nozzle. So looks like we have a setup wizard. Do we want to continue? Yes, we do. So some information about the status bar at the bottom of the screen. It contains information about nozzle temperature, heat bed temperature, printing speed, Z-axis height, selected filament. Nothing really breakthrough here. Press next to run the self-test, which checks for potential issues related to the assembly. I hope I didn't make any mistake. So it looks like it's testing the fan, the hot end fan, then the part cooling fan, axis. You see this printer has no stops, so it is actually the Trimix drives that detect over torque, so they act as end stops. So it's end stops free machine. This is why also that was not needed during assembly. Let's also see if the Z-axis goes all the way down and the sensor does its magic. There is this fancy application with a motor on top. Not sure. I mean, I don't think I've never seen it in other machines. I think it's clever that they have also fixed the Z-screw down there. Gets a bit more rigidity due to the gantry of this machine. So now it's checking, I think, the full stroke. So it went all the way down. Now it's coming all the way up. Printer is not so silent as I would love it to be, but still not noisy either. So it looks like the check is complete. Now it's heating up bed and nozzle. It's heating up the nozzle up to 280 degrees and the bed to 100 C. So that's interesting. Let's see how this goes. I think I'm going to speed this up. Still, I find a bit strange that there's no warning here. I mean, 100 degrees looks like you can burn yourself on the heat bed. So I think they better put some warning sign here that you have to keep your fingers away from the bed. Done. So we've done. All tests are successful. Here we go. First layer calibration. The calibrator with currently loaded filament plus next load the filament plus load to change it. I think I will load my filament now. So let me do this. So let's load it. It is PLA, so I'm going to go with the preset for PLA. And let's see if it works. Yes, it grabbed into it, so now it's feeding it through. And there it goes. It's purging. I don't see anything coming up yet of the extruder. So it didn't really purge it. There's no handle, no knob, no way. Oh, now it's purging out. So is the color correct? Yes, of course, because it's new. Let's calibrate the distance between the tip of the nozzle and the print sheet. In the next step, use the knob to adjust the nozzle height. Check the pictures in the handbook for reference. Now it's homing. So I guess that the printer is now going to prep up and is going to probably lay down a layer of filament, and I will have to adjust with the knob until it sticks properly. So let's see what happens. Now it's doing calibration, so bed leveling. Probably a bit too many points for such a small printer. I think I'm going to fix it with the slicer when I'm going to do the first print. Yes, now it's extruding a layer of filament. and it's way off. Okay, now we have to turn it the other way around. I hear the noise of the stepper motor clicking. I think some more. This is a nice bed leveling experience. I had to go down 1.05 millimeters, and now I'm getting a bit of, I think I can go down 1/10 of a millimeter more probably. No, maybe that's enough. Yeah, so minus 1.055 is going to be my setting. Calibration successful, so now I'm on my own. Yeah, I'm gonna trust that they have loaded the latest firmware available, so let's go and start printing a Benchy and let's see how it looks like. You see there's a nice picture of a Benchy here. It says it's going to consume 11 grams of PLA, 3.91 meters, and it's going to take 2 hours. Let's see if that's true. Well, the first print didn't go so well. I have an error. 4, error, mounting USB drive. Continue. I'm going to continue. So it suddenly stopped. Watchdog reset. And here we go. So the printer is, of course, screwed. So let's give a look to the Benchy so far. So it's been sliced with gyroid. Not sure you can see it. The bottom print is quite good, so probably going to be out of focus because the focus is in down here, but anyway, the print is quite crisp, and so yeah, let's start again and see what happens next. I failed to print a couple of Benchies, so you see the result here. It's they failed the same layer height. So what I can see from here is that the bottom surface is very even, pretty good. And yeah, it was working fine until that place, and failed 2 of them. And I found out that the fault of this nameless brand USB stick, so I tried to format it over, but then I had to do a bit of a bigger print, so I changed it to my SanDisk, and this is the result. So if I look at this Benchy here, looks pretty neat. Nothing major, a bit of stringing here and there. This is sliced by them. It wasn't the original pen drive, so I don't know how they sliced it, but overall it looks pretty okay. So then I moved to my big print, and that's what you see here on the table here. It's a prop that I made for a colleague that is retiring, and this is printed on Sunlu Silk Gold. Went out pretty good. It's a 14 hours print, been printed at 0.15 layer height with the quality profile. It's been sliced with the Prusa slicer, and I didn't tweak anything at all except initial flow. For some reason the flow was at the beginning 0.95 and it was leaving out a lot of holes. So this is the result of the first layer with that setting. Then I tweaked it up until it was, this corner here was a bit more solid. In the end I ended up doing the first layer at 150 flow, and then I tuned it down to 100. So there's something that I still have to figure out there. But overall I'm very satisfied with this print. It's been 14 hours and now I'm going to pop it out of the print bed with you guys. So let me take it out. And this is simply how this pops out. The top is pretty neat, and I think overall it's a quite okay print. Yeah, a bit of blobs here on the front, but yeah, looks okay. So my final considerations on this printer are quite good. This is a solid build printer. Of course, everything you could expect from a Prusa machine. And it's an entry-level machine as well, so the cost is reasonable for someone who wants to get into this hobby or making it a profession to start with. A few remarks. Well, this is a breeze to set up, so you've seen, I mean, apart from a bit of hiccups on the assembly, it's very straightforward. And as soon as you started with the sensor on the level bed, so you don't have knobs and nothing like that, so no bed leveling at all, which makes life so much easier. So you just have to tune in the level at which the printer starts to lay its first layer, and then you're done. Bit of hiccups with this cheap brandless USB stick. Maybe Prusa can do something better about that, but that's no big deal. I mean, nowadays USB sticks are a bit everywhere. The only downside of this machine, I would say, is a bit more noisier than I would have expected. And I think the main reason for that is the bearings, because if you move it by hand like this, you will hear that it's probably the bearings that make the noise. I'm not sure yet. I don't know what I can do about that, but that's a minor thing, I would say. Nothing really big to worry about. Apart from this, I think it's a great machine. Also, the build is quite sturdy, and the fact that this is a gantry cantilever, that is no real big deal. The machine prints very good out of the box. And that's it for today. If you like what you see, just hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the bell if you want to get notifications of my next upcoming videos. And until next time.